Welcome to Business Communication for Success. Effective communication is the key to success. It doesn't matter where you are in life and what you do. If you are not able to communicate effectively, then it becomes hard for you to be successful in your career, in your personal life, or in your professional life. When communication fails, everything breaks. Whether it's a team, whether it is a family, whether it's a relationship, whatever it may be, when the communication fails, everything starts falling apart. Communication is the lifeblood of business. Whether you're speaking to your external customers or you're speaking to your internal team members, or what we call as the internal customers, communication plays a very major role. Communication helps you to take your team forward, and the same communication, if not used effectively, could break your team apart, could break your relationship apart, could break your friendship apart. Now, I would like to ask you a very simple question. When was the first time you communicated effectively? We need to understand that each and every one of us, you, I, and everybody in this world, we have the capacity to communicate. We started communicating from the very first day we came to this world. Now, what is the lesson that you learned from this presentation till now? Communication has nothing to do with language. When a baby cries the day the baby was born, the baby does not know the language, but the baby still communicates with its mother. So communication is not limited to language. If you can cry and if you can express your emotion, that itself is considered to be communication. So communication has nothing to do with language, but it's more and above language. What do you mean by internal communication? Internal communication is something that you talk to yourself and you start believing that it's true. That becomes your belief system. There are people who say that I can do it, and there are also people who say that I can't do it. The question that you need to ask is, where do you fall in? If you are a person who keeps on saying that I can achieve it, I can accomplish it, I can do it, then you are on the positive side. Or if you are on the other side saying to yourself that I can't do it, it's impossible for me, then you are right. Whatever the case may be, that becomes your belief system. If you believe that you can do it, then you're right. If you believe that you can't do it, still you're right. If you take any athlete or champions, they keep on saying to themselves that they're going to win. A great example is Muhammad Ali. And whenever he gets into the ring, he keeps on telling himself that I am the greatest, I'm the champion, I'm the greatest, I'm the champion. Now, why is he doing that? He wants to give the positive attitude to himself, saying that I can do it. The time he stops telling that, then there could be some other voice which could overpower the voice he is talking to himself. Therefore, he wants to remind himself. It's like an affirmation. He keeps on repeating that I'm the best, I'm the greatest, and I'm the champion. So your success depends upon the way that you talk to yourself. The way that you talk to yourself, if that has got more power than the power of the external voices, then for sure you're going to become a winner. At the same time, with the external voices, the voices around you has more power than the voice that you talk to yourself, then for sure that power would overcome your own power. The other example that I would like to take is the Wright brothers. Now, when the world said that you can't do it, they were so firm and they said that we can do it. And they stood up on it. And that's how they achieved their first flight. And we should know that that's a team effort. And that's exactly what happens in the real life. If you were to be a leader in an organization, you must be having the positive attitude to say that, yes, we can do it. And only when you have the sort of positive attitude, you can telegraph or telecast or cascade that sort of positiveness into your team. So you all have the same communication. You all have the same vision. You all have the same mission. You work towards the mission. You work toward the vision. The next example that I would like to share with you is the example of Tenzin and Hillary, the two gentlemen who conquered the Everest in 1953. Now, we need to understand that there was nobody before them who conquered the Everest. In 1951, they attempted to conquer the Everest and it failed. They never gave up. When the world said it's not possible, they told to themselves it's possible. 1952, they attempted again, but failed. And in 1953, they stepped on to the tallest point on earth. This is an example of talking to yourself or communicating to yourself that things are possible. Until otherwise, you as a leader, if you don't have the confidence and if you don't talk positively or if you don't communicate positively to yourself, then you won't be able to lead your team. So before we talk about business communication for success, you need to talk about internal communication first. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. The next story that I would like to share with you is the story of a young chap. As part of his assignment, he was asked by the professor to bring a project, and he came up with a project. The project was very simple, but I'm sharing an incident which happened many years back. The project which was presented by the student was overnight delivery of packages. He demonstrated that a package can be sent from point A to point B overnight. During those days, there was nothing called courier services. Therefore, it was hard for him to influence the professor, and the professor did not agree to the project. At a later stage, the same gentleman took the same project and turned it into a business. As an experiment, he took few boxes and sent it from point A to point B to ensure that it reaches or it arrives the final destination overnight. He was able to prove that it arrives the next day. There were around 10 packages. 7 out of 10 packages belonged to the same gentleman. This is how he did the experiment. He sent those parcels from point A and it arrived on his doorstep the very next day. He strongly believed in himself and he strongly believed in the idea and his business. The gentleman that I'm talking about is none other than Frederick W. Smith, the founder of FedEx, which used to be known as Federal Express. Today, as a company, they have a fleet size of 660 aircraft. They serve more than 375 destinations worldwide. They have round about 400,000 employees as per 2016. It was a belief of one single person. It was how he communicated with himself. So understand, business communication always starts by communicating with yourself. The quality of your life is the quality of your communication. Now here's a question for you. Can you speak in the public? When you heard this question, what goes in your mind? What did you communicate with yourself? Did you say you can? Or did you say you can't? Whatever you say, you're right. What about walking 5 miles a day? What comes in your mind? Talking for 15 minutes facing a camera? What about generating $50,000 annually? What do you communicate to yourself? What about $5 million annually? Now what you communicate? You will be able to achieve only those things which you believe that you can. And to believe you can, you have to first communicate with yourself. Everything in this world happens twice. The first, it happens in your thought, and the second, in action. By communicating with yourself, you make those thoughts more powerful. So always understand, business communication starts with you.